You people, you have thousands of instructors in the Lord, and yet you do not have a lot of fathers. I have begotten you through the preaching of the gospel. And you are my sons. That's what he's saying. And for this reason, I've sent Timothy as my beloved son. You are my son, but I've sent Timothy as my beloved son. All of you are sons. But I've sent my beloved son, Timotheus. Why is he a beloved son? Because he is faithful in the Lord. Faithful in the Lord. Faithful in the Lord. Who shall bring you into remembrance of my ways? My, M-Y, my ways. I'm sending you my beloved son. He's beloved because he's able to talk about my ways. He can preach about my ways. He can teach about my ways. It's not difficult for him because he understands the way I operate. That's why I love him so much, more than I love all of you guys. That's what he's talking about. He understands my ways, which be in Christ. The way I function in the Lord, my beliefs, what I know in the Lord. Myself, you know, what I believe, if you move around with me for some time, you will know what I know. You understand what I understand. And I intentionally do that. I don't jump into new things every time. Though some people might think that I always get new revelation. But I'm telling you the truth. What I've been preaching ever since is still what I'm preaching now. Yeah. I've been talking about this for years now. But I'll keep on bringing it back in a different form, in a different form, in a different form. And if you do that as a minister, that's another way of avoiding expiration. You should have your own line, your own ways in Christ. And your own ways, keep on pushing them until they are understood. Ways. So I've got a certain way of doing it, and a certain way of saying it, and a certain way of presenting it before people. Right? And that is my niche market. There's a reason why I do that. So I can say a certain statement here and you would think I've never heard of this. And yet I've been saying that over and over again. Why should we jump into new things? But I can tell you now that you see Saul prophesy in the presence of all these prophets because of his connection to Samuel, and is able to do exactly what Samuel would do if Samuel was in Saul's situation. He's beginning to prophesy like Samuel. But I've also come to realize that most people, they have fathers behind the scenes. People that are coaching them, advising them, mentoring them. It's just that they don't appreciate and mention it publicly. They seem to be doing it alone, and yet there are people behind them helping them to achieve what they are achieving. I've seen people, preachers, pastors, evangelists, men of God. You listen to him, the messages he preaches, the way he preaches, the language, the way he walks, the gestures, the way he dresses, the way he eats. It can remind you of another man of God And you can say, how come these people are almost everything is a similar? And yet you never hear him acknowledging that person as his source. That's the problem of sons. And yet what makes you a son, whether you believe it, whether you agree to that or not, people eventually see it. Where you are taking it from, they will see it. They will see it. Everything, they can copy everything, even the colors on the decor. They can copy everything. And yet you never hear him. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. And yet what you don't realize is that when you copy a man, everything that he does, you attract the demons that are fighting him. You then you come to a place when you realize that we are now different. Because the demons are going to come after that kind of a message. Demons are going to come after that kind of a decoration and colors. And that is when you need the person now. Because you are running in my track. You hit against my own obstacles. That is when you then need the man himself. There has to be a family. If you look at myself, I'm a son to my spiritual father, the prophet of God, Prophet Wati. And he's also a son to the Archbishop, Duncan William. Even if you doubt my father, look at his father. He's considered to be an apostle of strategic prayer in the entire Ghana. So how can such a man have a son who is not straightforward? And then for me to have a father who is not straightforward? Look at the tree. And the Archbishop himself was also a son to Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Look at the tree. Look at the tree. Then if Archbishop Benson Idahosa was not a man of God, so who was a man of God? If Archbishop Duncan Williams is not a man of God, so who is the man of God?